I'd like to welcome in our first guest of the program, and actually a new IHC partner, Phil Micali, Chief Commercial Officer with Claritas Mindsciences. Phil, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the wonderful conference last week in Baltimore. I will also say that it was very stimulating and good, and the discussion about private exchanges is evolving, and you guys did an outstanding job.
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate it. Well, and welcome to the program, and welcome into the IHC as a new partner. Tell our audience a little bit about what you guys are doing there at Claritas.
Basically, what we're bringing Claritas Mindsciences is our digital therapeutics. You can call them point solutions, to Andrew's reference before, that fit into a broader hub, whether it's Red Brick or others, where there's a wellness platform. Basically, the focus, though, with our solution and why it has such high efficacy and effectiveness is because it weaves mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness, into each of the products. The first product, as you mentioned before in the introduction, that we have in the market is for smoking cessation. It has double the quit rate of the gold standard, former gold standard being the American Lung Association Freedom from Smoking. So already we've seen really great success with outcomes and just the level of engagement and of functionality, because it is a smartphone program fundamentally. It has online peer support as well as a weekly check-in with the expert, live streaming just like we're doing now, but actually with video. So it has two other components beyond the smartphone, but the base of the program is the 21-day smartphone-based program that weaves mindfulness to really help people understand their habit loops. Addictions are hard to break, and so are habits in general, and that's what these products do. The next one that will come out early next year is one called Eat Right Now, a mindful eating program, and that will have an even broader application in the marketplace.
So, Phil, after all this time, years of battling the smoking issue, why is this still such a problem for workplace health?
Well, first of all, from a physiologic standpoint, nicotine is a very hard addiction to break. People, just like you say, are engaged in quitting or smoking for different reasons. And the tobacco money that has been spent in the last several years at the state level on quit lines has been very ineffectively spent. It's very expensive. It's very ineffective in terms of recruitment, and their quit rates have been in the single digits, if that. So we have issues with, I think, the approach. Getting someone to engage in a smoking cessation program that's telephonic can be challenging. People are relying more and more on digital means to connect and to be reminded to really, like you say, be engaged. Being engaged to me is equivalent to being in the present. And that's what mindfulness is really all about, is that we are in autopilot, all of us, any given time, and for some reasons we have to be. That's how we survive. But when it comes to habits that are unhealthy, that are based on a habit that turn into an addiction, mindfulness helps bring clarity and focus to what that habit loop is and how you or I, for our habits and addictions, how we fuel them. So I would answer your question in that we still have a lot of problems in the workplace around productivity, for smokers being less. So I have a report here from the Effect of Smoking Status on Productivity Loss in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine, this is back to October 06, so these numbers are going to need to be inflated for now, but the average annual cost for lost productivity for non-smokers, was $2,600 a year compared with $3,200 for former smokers, and then $4,400 lost productivity for current smokers. So there still is an issue in the workplace and in society in general that we still have 18% of our population smoking.
That's an expensive problem, and maybe the idea that we've heard about it for so long has desensitized us to its importance, but it's still significant. So talk to us a little bit about mindfulness and help us bust the buzz. I think there are certain words in the market that are at risk of becoming buzzwords and again, therefore desensitizing us to their importance. I'm afraid mindfulness may be may be one of them, as many players. Google has begun to popularize it. One of their guys has written a book about mindfulness. So, what is it that Claritas Mindsciences is doing that goes beyond buzz?
What we're doing is we're bringing it into a digital application. So it's actually useful to you, so you don't have to just theorize about it. It's in your daily life habit stream of connecting with a program that helps you improve your health. So this whole topic you brought up, Andrew, at the introduction about engagement and the apathy around engagement, a lot of it has to do that people were just lost in thought. There's so much going on of thinking about the past and the future that we're not living in the present. So what we're doing is bringing that philosophy, that ancient philosophy of meditation and, let's say Americanized into the word of mindfulness in a very pragmatic way, a very functional way, into a smartphone program. And that's why we believe there's such success with it, because it's repeatable. We don't allow people to skip forward, but we allow them to go backward in the 21-day program specifically for smoking. We have an in-the-moment method for a mindfulness exercise, 5 or 6 minutes, to go through a mindfulness exercise if you decide to smoke or you decide to ride that crave. So really what we're dealing with is cravings and addictions and applying your mindfulness in the present to dismantle them. Whether you smoke or not, non-judgmentally, a very non-judgmental approach. Don't beat yourself up. A lot of the reason why people don't beat addiction is because they beat themselves up over time for getting off the wagon and falling off the wagon. And so we're encouraging people to come back and to keep at it, because the more you're mindful about what you're doing, you're going to realize that particular habit you have that turned into an addiction is probably not that good for you, besides the fact that your spouse told you that you have bad breath.
Right. So I don't smoke, and she tells me that anyway. That might have been too much information. All right. Okay. Your organization is linked with, just to kind of credentialize what you're doing, linked with the program that Jon Kabat-Zinn had started, and Jon Kabat-Zinn, for those who don't know, was really the grandfather of mindfulness and meditation in the workplace. He's written a number of books that are well known. He at least did conduct CEO sessions around meditation and mindfulness, and he started a Center for Mindfulness. Phil, remind our audience about Jon Kabat-Zinn's work and your affiliation.
Well, really, Jon Kabat-Zinn was the first to, I would say, Americanize the methods of meditation and bring them to the American Western public in a way that resonated perhaps more. Maybe it's not necessarily always about sitting on the cushion or yoga. It's about your daily practice. So when he really focused first in his research, 30 years ago he founded the Center for Mindfulness, the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and he's led that for all these years. Saki Santarelli is the director of it now. But we have the good fortune that our founder of our company and our chief scientist is the head of research at that center. So Claritas was founded as a spinoff out of Yale, and then it followed the founder, an MD PhD by the name of Judd Brewer, become famous in his work around mindfulness around cravings and addictions. What Jon Kabat-Zinn originally did was, over the years, is how does mindfulness impact pain management, which is obviously a big deal. Post-surgery, we're going to talk about surgery in your next interview. And so that was his emphasis and research and that he brought to the world. If you see, if you Google on CBS's 60 Minutes, both Jon Kabat-Zinn and Judd Brewer are, as well as some other interviewees, are interviewed by John Anderson Cooper on a special on mindfulness, and it's a really good way to get a sense of how Jon Kabat-Zinn brought this practice and the retreats and the books and the CEO sessions all over the world now. But also the Center for Mindfulness in Worcester, Mass. is a place that a lot of people come to, and that's where our founder and chief researcher and scientist, Judd Brewer, is housed.
Hey, Phil, this is Doug. let's come back to your solution and tell our audience a little bit about the business model. What is your business model?
Basically, we have a direct-to-consumer business model and a B2B2C. So going through channel partners that sponsor or, in fact, subsidize partially or fully. So when we talk about, in that realm, the B2B2C, we talk about private exchanges and there's a lot of incentive now in a private exchange because premiums are differentiated by smoker versus non-smoker. So that's why we got so much out of your conference last week, because there were so many discussions around private exchanges and vendors who do it and those that are considering it. Smoking is a very big factor when it relates to the health plan selection, because you're going to pay more for premium, whether as an employee or a dependent versus if you smoke versus if you don't smoke. The direct so in that model. Go ahead.
No, Phil. Before you get off, and Andrew will have you wrap with it, but you're going to launch a solution for obesity management in not too far off near term, correct?
Correct. And in both situations, it's basically a subscription price, whether it's direct to consumer or B2B, to answer your former question. And it's around $79 for direct to consumer. For the smoking cessation program, if you go to you go to cravingtoquit.com, and then you download the app. And then for the B2B, there's volume discounts based on pre-purchases of 100, 200, 1,000 seats based on the smoking population for the B2B sponsor.
And we've got a special arrangement for our audience, too. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, we do, which is exciting. And we're pleased to offer this to the IHC audience, those of you listening and others that are coming to conferences and whatnot. So we have a minimum of 100 seats purchase. We call it 100 subscription purchase. And for making that minimum order, you get 5 free seats, which is approximately $600. That comes with all the reporting and all the activity reporting and outcomes reporting that you as a broker, as a health plan, as an employer, or all of the above need in order to justify the spend. But when you talk about $100 or a little over $100 in terms of per seat spend, when you're at the level of 100 purchase, the return on investment is significant. Every smoker that you turn into a non-smoker is about $1,100 minimum of claim savings a year. So you can see the return on investment is very, very good. But again, the challenges are, as Andrew brought up before, is engagement apathy. How do you get people to even recruit into the program?
Well, good. Do you want to just leave our audience with a couple of key takeaways? If there are 2 or 3 things you want our listeners to remember about Claritas Mindsciences, what would those be?
Really, everything that Claritas Mindsciences do incorporates the practice of mindfulness in a very engaging way, multimedia engaging way, in order for us in our very busy lives to really have more clarity, to slow down, get ourselves off autopilot, and really start to dismantle the things that are maybe not so good for us. So that's the main point. How we do it is with a really strong technological emphasis, but the clinical part of it that Judd Brewer, our founder, created early on, and working all this research that he's done, is really the premise of why this had such good outcomes.
Well, great talking with you. We're excited about what you're doing and the chance to partner with you on it as well. And thanks for joining us, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.